Can we trust everything that journalists tell us? In an age of information overload, the role of journalists as gatekeepers of truth becomes paramount. They hold the societal responsibility of delivering accurate, unbiased, and fair news. Yet, journalistic integrity, a fundamental pillar of a healthy democracy, is not a given. The importance of honesty in journalism cannot be overstated. It's about more than just getting the facts right. It's about presenting those facts in a way that's free from distortion or manipulation. It's about ensuring that the narrative isn't skewed to fit a certain agenda. When journalists stray from these principles, they do more than just misinform. They erode the public's trust in the media, a cornerstone of a functioning society. But how pervasive is this issue of dishonest journalism? Is it a widespread problem or just a few rotten apples in the bunch? Now, let's delve into the world of dishonest journalism. Starting the countdown at number 5 is none other than Martin Bashir, the former BBC journalist who gained notoriety for his deceitful methods in securing the infamous 1995 interview with Princess Diana. This instance of journalistic dishonesty was so egregious that it drew condemnation from the princes themselves, William and Harry, both of whom issued statements highlighting the unethical practices that contributed to their mother's paranoia, fear, and isolation. In a shocking revelation, an independent investigation found that Bashir used deceitful methods to secure the interview, leading to a breach of the BBC's guidelines. This flagrant violation of journalistic ethics was not just about bending the rules, but a clear demonstration of a reporter putting personal ambition above truth and integrity. What makes Bashir's actions even more appalling is the impact they had. The princes expressed concern over how these unethical practices played a role in their mother's death. Princess Diana's legacy and the impact of media exploitation on her life were brought into the limelight. This highlights the profound consequences that can result from journalistic dishonesty. The BBC accepted the findings of the report, acknowledging failures in its investigation and coverage, but the damage was done. The trust that the public places in journalists to truthfully and ethically report news was severely undermined, and the personal costs in this case were tragic. And so, Martin Bashir earns his spot at number 5 in our countdown of the most dishonest journalists. His actions serve as a stark reminder of the damage that can be done when journalists choose deceit over truth, personal gain over professional ethics. This brings us to the 4th most dishonest journalist. At number 4, we have a figure who could be straight out of a spy novel. Their name is cloaked in controversy, their actions, a blur of ambiguity. This individual has been accused of using black propaganda, falsely attributing messages to stir up hate and manipulate perceptions. This journalist, for lack of a better word, has taken the art of misinformation and twisted it to their own ends. They've been implicated in a series of stories that have not only skewed the truth, but have actively worked to undermine it. A case in point. Remember the tragic Buffalo shooting incident. The mass shooter, driven by white supremacy, took 10 lives in a racially motivated attack. Soon after, a wave of misinformation linking the shooter to the Azov battalion in Ukraine flooded the internet. Despite the lack of any solid evidence, this journalist used their platform to fan the flames of these baseless conspiracy theories, causing confusion and mistrust. This individual's reporting has not only caused public confusion, but has also been used by various groups to advance their own agendas. Whether it's pro-Kremlin actors looking to discredit the US government's stance on Ukraine, or left-wing groups hoping to combat what they perceive as US imperialism, this journalist's work has provided them with the ammunition they need. The consequences of such dishonest reporting are far-reaching and dangerous. It undermines public trust, stokes fear, and can even incite violence. It's a stark reminder of the power that journalists wield and the responsibility they carry to report truthfully and ethically. Next up, the 3rd most dishonest journalist. The 3rd place goes to a journalist who has garnered attention for all the wrong reasons. Our bronze medalist of dishonesty has a knack for twisting narratives and stirring up controversy. Now, who might this be? Well, let's dive into the murky waters of misinformation. This journalist, who we'll refer to as the Twister, has a notorious reputation for skewing stories to the extreme. This isn't just about a slight bias or a different perspective. It's about a blatant disregard for truth in favor of sensationalism and shock value. For instance, let's consider a notable incident from the past. In 2022, there was an unfortunate event in Buffalo, where a mass shooter, driven by white supremacy, claimed 10 innocent lives. The twister took this tragic incident and spun it into a web of deceit, trying to link the shooter to the Azov battalion in Ukraine, despite no evidence supporting such a connection. Their motive? To undermine support for Ukraine, highlighting once more their tendency to manipulate narratives for political gain. In another instance, they were found guilty of sensationalizing the aftermath of a deceitful interview conducted in 1995 with none other than Princess Diana. Rather than focusing on the unethical practices that led to the interview, the twister chose to exploit the situation further, deepening the wounds of a tragedy that had already caused immense pain. These are but a few examples of their dishonesty. Their work, if it can be called that, is riddled with instances of black propaganda, where they falsely attribute messages to stir hate or manipulate perceptions. And the consequences? They're severe. The twister's work generates mistrust, fuels conflict, and most importantly, diverts attention from the real issues at hand. Let's move on to the second most dishonest journalist. Coming in at number 2 is a figure who has left an indelible mark on the world of journalism, albeit for the wrong reasons. This journalist's actions have not only damaged the reputation of their profession, but have also had far-reaching consequences for those affected by their stories. Our second most dishonest journalist is none other than Martin Bashir, a name that has become synonymous with unethical journalism practices. Bashir gained notoriety for his deceitful tactics during a pivotal 1995 interview with Princess Diana. His actions were not only a breach of journalistic integrity, but they also contributed to the fear, paranoia, and isolation that plagued Diana's final years. An independent investigation found that Bashir used underhanded methods to secure the interview with Diana. This included fabricating bank statements to manipulate her into believing that her own staff were selling stories about her. His actions were a clear breach of the BBC's guidelines, and his deceit had a profound impact on Diana's mental health. The repercussions of Bashir's actions continue to be felt today. Both of Diana's sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, have spoken out about the harm caused by Bashir's deceitful practices. Their statements highlight the lasting impact of media exploitation on their mother's life and legacy. Bashir's actions serve as a stark reminder of the power and responsibility that come with journalism. His story is a cautionary tale of how the pursuit of a headline can lead to devastating consequences when ethics are cast aside. The damage caused by Bashir's dishonesty is immeasurable. His actions have not only tarnished his own reputation, but they have also sowed seeds of distrust in the media. This is a disservice to the many dedicated journalists who strive to uphold the principles of truth, fairness, and accuracy in their work. Finally, we arrive at the most dishonest journalist. And the title for the most dishonest journalist goes to, now the moment you've all been waiting for, the zenith of dishonesty, the epitome of journalistic malpractice. Our top contender has made a career out of twisting narratives to suit their agenda, disregarding the fundamental ethics of journalism. This individual, whose name we won't glorify here, has been caught red-handed in a web of lies more than once. Their stories, riddled with inaccuracies, have caused significant harm, leading to widespread misinformation and fostering unhealthy divisions among the public. Let's not forget the infamous incident where they falsely linked an innocent party to a high-profile crime, sparking a wave of unwarranted hatred and fear. Or the time they manipulated an interviewee's words, distorting the truth to an unrecognizable degree. These are but a few examples of their dishonesty, documented in various articles and reports. Their actions are a stark reminder of the power and responsibility that comes with journalism. The potential for harm when that power is misused is immense, and the trust once broken is hard to regain. That wraps up our countdown of the most dishonest journalists. Before we sign off, we have a quick request. If you found this video insightful, consider subscribing to our channel for more eye-opening content. Don't forget to tap the like button if you enjoyed this episode and follow us on our social media platforms for regular updates. Your comments are always welcome. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. And if you think this video could spark a conversation, feel free to share it with your friends and family. Thank you for watching. And remember to always question what you read and hear.